Hi everyone, Danny here. Today I want to talk to you about the book Game of Thorns. No, that is not me misspeaking the name. It is not Game of Thrones, it is Game of Thorns. This is a book about the 2016 presidential election. What the Clintons did wrong, what Donald Trump did right. This is a book that is at times depressing. It is at times exciting. It is thoroughly interesting. There are parts of the book that just make you want to take a long shower and scrub yourself till you bleed. There are parts of the book that leave you shaking your head in wonder, going, how could anyone have been that stupid? I mean, really? I'm going to say up front, I am not a Clinton fan. All 3 times the Clinton has ran, I voted against the Clinton. I voted as much. My vote was as much a vote against them as a vote for the person opposing them. So anything that I say about the book, because I'm going to give honest feedback on what I liked about the book and what I didn't. And there were even parts of the book where he was talking about the Clintons, and I didn't like his approach to it, even though I am not a Clinton fan. So I don't want anyone misreading that and thinking I'm a Clinton supporter. I voted for Donald Trump. I fully support Donald Trump. He's my president. He might not be yours, but that man is my president. So that said, the book starts off thoroughly exciting. It starts off with the night of the election, and you know what's going on in the Clinton camp. Actually, I think it starts off a couple of days before with what's going on in the Clinton camp, what's going on in the Donald Trump camp, how the Clintons are laughing at the things that Donald Trump is doing because he's obviously showing his rookie colors. He's doing things that everybody knows is a waste of time and money and just stupid. Up until the election night, and he takes it through both camps, you know, the Clintons finding out that they've lost, the Trumps finding out that they've won. And then he goes, let's take a step back. Because the Clintons' loss started well before this election. So let's step all the way back to the downfall of the Clintons. And then starts a long passage of the book where he goes through all of the Clinton scandals. He names sources, he names names, he gives direct quotes. And 8 chapters later, when he's done, you feel like you've been swimming in a sewer. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. I almost didn't finish the book, quite honestly, because I just felt disgusted and dirty. He does at one point during that section go through and do a psychological evaluation, I'll call it, on Bill Clinton's sexual proclivities with women outside of the marriage and why he was that way in this whole psychoanalysis. I didn't like that. I wish the author had left that out. Prior to that, the book had the feel of a documentary. You know, there's the lion. There's the gazelle. The gazelle smells something. The lion jumps up. The lion charges. The lion kills the gazelle. Just pure facts. But then once he gets into that, all of a sudden it takes on this personal anti-Clinton feel. You know, it's as if they're psychoanalyzing the lion. Well, the lion could have survived on grass, but the lions are bullies. They naturally like to bully and kill smaller, weaker animals. I truly wish the author had left that part of the book out. It lost me respect for him and for his opinion. Then as we get to the end and I'm feeling just disgusted, I want to turn this book off. I'm not enjoying this at all. Honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I was excited about doing a review on the book, I probably would have turned it off at that point. And I'm glad I didn't. Because then he swaps tables. Okay, we've been looking at what the Clintons did wrong. let's stop and look at what the Trumps did right. And an interesting thing you notice right off the bat with the Clintons, he starts talking about them when Bill Clinton was a governor. With Donald Trump, he starts talking about Donald Trump as a small boy. With the Clintons, 100% of the talk is political. What they did as governor, what they did as president, all of these, the scandals just overshadow everything. And even if you're a Clinton supporter, you can't deny the scandals. I mean, they're a part of history. With Trump, you get to see his family. And I've never studied the Clintons, so maybe the Clintons are very private about their family. Maybe they don't talk about it. Donald Trump has been public in some of his other, I've read other books of his, and he's not afraid to talk about his relationship with his dad, with his brother Donnie, and the effect that all of that had on him. So what the author's sharing there is public knowledge that Donald Trump himself has shared prior to his run for office. It goes up through him, announcing that he's going to run for office. And then the book really gets exciting, because then the book gets into the whole Republican debate. 17 people running for president, and all 17 of them think Donald Trump is a joke. One of my favorite stories comes from before the first Republican debate, when a couple of men came up to Donald Trump and told him, hey, these other guys out here, they all think you're a joke. They all think you're going to lose. They think you're going to lose tomorrow, and they're just kind of going to hang back and pick up your supporters once you lose. And according to the author, everything that I'm saying here is according to the author. I have no way of validating any of this. So according to the author, Donald Trump's reaction, according to the observers around it and his sources, Donald Trump's reaction was to get very confused. And according to the author, it was a genuine confusion. Why would they think I'm going to lose? Haven't they studied me? Do they know anything about me at all? I don't hardly ever lose. Why would you expect me to lose? I almost never lose. Do they know nothing about me? And it was almost had a feel to it of, me walking up to Michael Jordan and going, Michael Jordan, I challenge you to a game of one-on-one basketball. I'm going to kick your butt. You're going to lose, you sucker. Michael Jordan would be like, you do know who I am. What I do for a living? It wouldn't be ego on Michael Jordan's part to be confused by me thinking I could beat him. And that was kind of how that came across. It was quite entertaining, actually. So he goes through the Republican and the politics. He does address the scandals surrounding Donald Trump. He addresses Donald Trump's reaction. All this did for me was to make me more sure that I made the right choice in who I voted for. If you compare the Clintons' reaction to every time some form of a scandal came up, it was to obfuscate. It was to lie. It was to pass the buck. It was to somehow say, no, it did not happen. I did not have sex with that woman. Well, I might have smoked, but I didn't inhale. No, nobody listening believed him. Nobody I know did. Everyone I know knew he did have sex with that woman. So either you're too stupid to know how to smoke pot, or you're so weak that you're going to get them to, come on, you smoked it and we all know it. Just man up. Admit it. We've all been there. We've all done things that, absolutely shame us, and we're caught, and we have to man up and say, hey, I'm ashamed of my actions, and I have to apologize to everyone that I hurt, and just say that moving forward, I will be a better man, which is what Donald Trump did. And I've seen the broadcast. That's one that I've seen for myself. When it came out that he had that conversation, he didn't know. I didn't say that. That was made up. Oh, it's a left-wing attack on me. His response was, yes, I said that. And that was 11 years ago. I was a different person back then. I am ashamed of what I did and what I said, and I apologize to my family. I apologize to all women. I apologize to America, which to me is just, takes courage, takes integrity, and it's the man thing to do, or it's the womanly thing to do. Anyone with integrity, that's how they would handle that situation. So there was that. He takes you through the entire election, all the way through all of the debates, through all the way to the end when Donald Trump ends up winning. He goes through some of Donald Trump's political maneuvering, people that he hired and then very quickly fired. Hired a replacement, very quickly fired because they weren't fitting the role that he wanted them to fit. They weren't doing it until he got the right person. And I'm sure that's something that he learned in business. If you want to be a successful businessman, get the right person into the right place and don't wait. And we're kind of seeing that in this first month of President Trump's, presidency. He's not waiting for the right time and the right circumstances. He's just started moving and acting. And I'm sure that's something that you have to be able to do. I am not a successful businessman, so I cannot speak and say that is something that you have to do to be a successful businessman. Not a successful businessman. I don't know what you got to do to be successful. Wish I was, but I'm not. But I'm sure that is. It would make sense to me that would be something you would have to do to be a successful businessman. There were 2, maybe 3 times in the book where after debate, he would talk about how the press was, talking about how Trump had lost and how, Hillary Clinton had obviously won. And then he would go on to say that he was the lone voice in the wilderness saying that, no, Donald Trump won that. Most of America disagrees with all of you pundits and everybody else. Donald Trump actually won that one. He only does it 2 or 3 times, but each time he does it, it feels like he's tooting his own horn. And shut up, you blowhard. I'm reading your book. I don't. You just sound like you're standing there going, yes, but I was right. Nobody believed me, but I'm the smart one. And that's another part of the book that I didn't like, that I wish the author had left out. I'm glad he only did it the 2 or 3 times. He does a lot of talking about the press, which I fully agree with all of his views of the press. Anyone who knows me knows that I have not watched the news since I got out of the Marine Corps. When I was in the Marine Corps, my job was to be an intelligence analyst. The job of an intelligence analyst is to see what is actually happening, and then to combine that with everything else that we know, to turn it into usable intelligence, and then to help the officers above us and the enlisted above us use that usable intelligence to put together a workable plan. That was my job. So I would be in the inside. I would see what was actually happening in the world. I would see the plans that were formulated. And while I wasn't on the ground as an operative, I was getting the reports. I was seeing what actually went down when those plans were put into action. And then I would see what the news was reporting. And so often it was, what planet are these people from? That's not even remotely close to what actually happened. So by the time my 4 years were up and I was out of the Marine Corps, I had lost any and all faith and trust in the news media. And everyone that I've kept in touch with that worked in the field that I did, we're all in agreement. There's not a single one of us that have paid attention to the news. There's not a single one of us that trust the news media. So when he talks about the news media, I have no doubts that he is correct. He quotes sources. He does all kinds of things. This is an excellent book. It's read by the author. Some authors, their voice and the way they read really detracts from a book. Some authors, their voice and the way they read just makes the book. Couldn't be better. There are a lot of authors that, and he's one of them, the voice neither detracts nor adds to the book. And in a real way, that's a compliment, because this is almost a political documentary in book format. So it would be so very easy for this to get dry and boring and hard to listen to. And he doesn't do that. The One of the critiques that was pointed out to me with my reviews is that I should pay attention to the narrator and give some feedback on the narrator. So since getting that critique, I forced myself to be more aware of the narrator in the book. If it wasn't for the fact that I was forcing myself to be aware of the narrator, I would not have been aware. I would have been aware of the story itself, and the narrator would have been neither here nor there. And that's why I say he neither added to nor subtracted to the story. If you are a Hillary Clinton lover, a Bill Clinton lover, and you have the courage, I challenge you to listen to this book. Like me, you're a Trump supporter, you're going to love the book. It's going to leave no doubt in your mind that you made the right choice in who you selected as president. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and let's make America great again.